Welcome to another Lower Gentry Studios movie review. Today we're going to be reviewing Longlegs. I'm Chuck Norton. With us as our special guest, Victoria Horn, and as always, Elliot Norton.
Yes, I am here.
Writer and director.
It is I.
And the esteemed writer and director always has a hot take on these films. Should we start with our 3-word review?
Yes, please.
Go ahead, Elliot.
Marketing was better.
What do you got, Victoria?
Over the top.
Nick Cage. That's my review. I don't know if wikikika is a word, but I felt inspired in the moment.
Yeah.
My idea was to do Nick Cage and then whatever came out because I feel like he does well at that.
Yeah, for sure.
He has more practice, though.
That was him in most of the movie.
Yeah, he was just making... Yeah, sometimes he did this one. I liked this, where it's like over the...
Spoiler
the
alerts.
Over the top?
If you're watching
over the top? Yeah, mine
If
worked
you're watching
on
the video,
levels.
that was a spoiler, just so you know. So this review is going to take...
No, it's not a spoiler. It's in the marketing.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's on the Instagram like reels and stuff that they made. It's him just doing this. You never actually see his face in the marketing, but you do see the bottom half of his face. So that was not a spoiler.
That's
but we
true.
are going to... This is going to be very spoiler heavy.
Yeah, so we should start by maybe pointing out something. I kind of want to start by pointing out something that they did well. What is one
Where
thing
do we
that they did
start?
well? So you think there's a lot of stuff?
Yeah.
By the way, Victoria is also a filmmaker, writer, director, cinematographer,
Extraordinaire.
and editor.
So she knows what she's talking about.
Yes, and if you don't listen to her, then that's a bad idea.
I don't think anyone should listen to me.
Okay.
Well, we'll just turn off your microphone.
There we go.
That's
I'm
why
just
we
here
invite
for
women onto the podcast so we can turn off their microphone.
Oh, that's a little bit too meta for right now, sir.
We're just one step above Joe Rogan.
Very low bar to stumble
And
over
today
there.
as a special guest, we have Victoria Horn, who is better seen, not heard.
Welcome to Lower Gentry Studios. We only make films in the 50s.
All right, so one good thing about the film, I'd love to hear about Victoria.
Okay, I really, really loved the cinematography. I thought it was gorgeous. Horror films do not need to do those super wide art house, like static shots, and they did. And they kept everyone really, really center frame with way too much headroom, and it was so uncomfortable, and I really liked it.
Yeah, except for when they were doing
pretty.
the serial killer, because they actually gave him no headroom. They literally cut off half of his face.
They did.
Yeah.
They did. But they used that strategically.
No. Yeah, I'm just
I don't
agreeing.
know.
I'm agreeing
I
with
think
you.
the cinematography was absolutely gorgeous. It was a pretty movie to watch.
Yeah, it was unsettling.
Yeah.
And it actually, despite how shitty the writing was, you didn't really notice that it was shitty writing until about 45 minutes in, at least for me.
It took a while.
It took a while because I think like the first few scenes, like the first like 8 or 9 scenes, just operated off of just kind of like that, like the texture of the filmmaking, like kind of like brought it along for a long time, and then it took me a long time to just be like, because at first I was like, oh well, this is just a ripoff of Silence of the Lambs, and then it's like, oh, they're throwing in some occult shit, and I don't think it was until like.
I like how you described the thing that they did well. You're doing a great job of that, Elliot.
Thank you.
You know what they did well is it wasn't as shitty at the beginning as it was later on, and you know when they were ripping off these other films. Anyway, continue.
Yeah. But anyway, it was in a new. It felt new enough. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it felt like the texture of the movie was obviously like indebted to certain serial killer movies, but it still felt new, especially in the first 20, 30 minutes. Just because of almost like the gait of it, like it had swagger.
Mm-hmm.
The movie like has
Long takes.
long takes.
Yeah.
Also, the movie begins with like kind of like a flashback, but then the immediate scene sets up like exposition really well, really quickly. It's like just literally her. She's the only woman, and then you see that just immediately, and then she looks towards a dude that like looks like, oh, maybe I'm gonna ask her out on a date or whatever, and he's obviously a douchebag, and then there's no dialogue, and it's just them canvassing a neighborhood. It's done in like 45 seconds without like a big thing like, well, welcome, little lady, you know, like none of that shit.
You're
They did
the
a good job
female
with
FBI
that.
agent.
Yeah.
But I will say that scene is actually my biggest issue with the movie.
That scene?
That scene is my
Really?
biggest problem with the movie, and it's the weirdest thing that I'm upset about.
Because psychics don't actually work that way.
No, okay. No, I was willing to believe, okay, she's just psychic. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
She's psychic. Cool. But my issue was they shot it in this like suburb style neighborhood where all the houses are we allowed to swear in this?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Fuck yeah.
Okay. So all the
Well,
houses.
no, not you, because you're a woman. Sorry.
What are you talking right now?
This is filmed in Idaho. Are women allowed to swear in Idaho still? I'm not sure.
Sorry, let me check the state constitution.
Well, don't do that. You don't want to know what that says. So all the houses are identical. And you can see the house numbers on the houses. And then at one point she turns and she looks and she's like, yes, that one, 3525. That's where he is. But you can see all the other houses, and all the houses have 3 numbers. They're not 4-number addresses. And it was such a small fix they could have done on site, especially when in this shot of her, you see 2 house numbers right behind her that are both 3 digits. And they could have just changed it.
Oh, damn. That
And they
was
didn't.
a level of paying attention that I don't think I'm quite capable of.
Yeah.
It was such a small thing.
Regardless
They
of
could
the
have fixed it. The
quality of the movie.
location manager should have seen that. The script supervisor could have caught that. Anybody should have seen that. And
Yeah.
nobody cared.
And I guess, yeah, it's actually a really expensive movie, too. And even if they fucked up to that point, they could have just added in a number in post, probably. On
They
either
could
side.
have.
Yeah.
It was all
Was it
blurred
static?
out. Like
Was it static shot?
Yeah, but even so, like,
static or moving.
yeah,
Well, yeah, static's a little easier.
It is. But
Okay.
for sure.
Well,
Can I talk about that? Because I have a really I have a really interesting opinion to me
Oh,
that
cool.
I would like to share.
I'd love to hear it.
Well, no, because I think of because I was trying to think like when exactly the movie lost me, and I think it lost me in like steps. You know, because like the beginning, I was with it. You know, you have
too.
like
I agree.
Nicolas Cage doing his acting voice because he only has like 2 accents. It's like regular and then acting.
no, because he also has like grunge action and scary creeper.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Because I always just think of it as
subtle.
just like vampires. What is it called? Vampires Kiss. Vampires from the 80s.
Oh,
and he always
yeah.
like, hello,
With Jim
Alva.
Carrey-
I'm doing Nicolas Cage now, Alva. You know, like.
Oh, yeah. That's
Let's
a good
get back and get those expense reports, Alva. It's always like a variation of that. Now he's older. He's just like, I'm a serial killer, little girl. You know, it's always like kind of this kind of weird, affected, like East Coast, almost mid-Atlantic, but not quite. You know. Anyway,
Yeah.
sorry.
So he was doing that. Spoiler alert.
Yeah,
He does
in the
that voice in
Yeah, he
this
does
movie
that.
a
So
lot.
you see him very briefly. Then it goes into like her canvassing with her partner, right? And the partner gets shot. And then my prediction for the rest of the movie, I couldn't quite get over it. Because I was just like, because remember, she goes and clears the room. And I was thinking, like, wouldn't it be cool if this was the rest of the movie?
Oh, it was all right there.
Yeah. It's like, and then like she wasn't, because it's kind of a surprise when she goes and she like bears down on somebody that's not Nicolas Cage. But I'm like, it might have been cooler if it was just Nicolas Cage, and then like that's the rest of the movie, you know?
That actually would have been kind of cool.
Yeah.
But it would have been a little bit like the phone booth. Was that it?
Yeah.
Phone booth.
Yeah,
whatever it's called?
if they would have tightened though, like
Yeah.
the temporal like lines of like the storytelling.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
They could have done that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then so after that, it was like a little twinge of like, well, maybe let's get going. And then it was the when they introduced the black family, right? Her supervisor is the black guy, the black
Oh,
FBI
yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
And then so clearly you already know at that juncture that the serial killer is murdering families or coercing them to murder families. And I was just like, I really hope they kill this family at the end of the first act as opposed to at the end. And that was just like, if it's at the end, that means there's not enough story.
Because
Yeah.
you definitely
Like-
saw it coming. The minute
Yeah.
she's like, will you come to my birthday? And it's like, yeah, it's the birthday murders. And you're
Yeah.
like, well, that's
That's going to happen. It better
We know
happen
where that's
soon
going.
as opposed to like an hour from now, or else like they're going to be really spinning their wheels, and then it ended up spinning their wheels.
So maybe
I
those
feel like
long,
I'm talking too much too.
maybe those long cuts were not a stylistic thing. Maybe they just had to keep the camera rolling to make sure that they got to at least the 90-minute mark.
needed 90
Because what was the movie like? It was
It
like
was an hour
a
45. Yeah.
Was it an hour 45? Okay. Yeah, that was it was I had a lot of up and downs during that film. I really like Nick Cage. I thought he knocked it out of the park.
Really?
But there wasn't enough Nick Cage. Yeah, I always like his acting. I think the acting in that movie was phenomenal, especially because the writing was so rough. The line by line writing, like the dialogue itself was awful. There was a lot of weirdness to it, some exposition, but it's not really exposition. It was just kind of like
Well, I mean, that speech that the mother gives at the beginning of the third act, where she just talks for 5 minutes and explains everything.
Oh, yeah, that was unfortunate.
Yeah, because I was just like, you actually don't need it, because every action afterwards would have just kind of
If they would have just cut that out, it would have been
'Cause then it would have
actually
been-
a lot better.
Yeah, it would have
like
been
they
Kate-
could have cut that whole scene at the house out and just gone straight to her sitting at the birthday party, and that would have been.
Or maybe have the mom, because the mom kills Hazel's the other FBI agent, right?
Yeah, if you needed to show him dying or whatever, then I guess you could. Or her dying.
Yeah, her dying in the car, right? And then it's just like, oh shit, the mom, and then...
Which was a cool shot to just suddenly see her like creeping up from behind the like the back passenger driver's side window and just watch her go through. I don't know.
Yeah, it was full of cool shots.
Yeah, lots of good cinematography.
So you love Nicolas Cage?
Yeah, I thought that was good. I
really didn't like him at all in this.
Oh, I
like
thought I always enjoy the shit out of his acting. You were the one, Elliot, that sent me that soundbite, that snippet, that Instagram reel or whatever it was, or TikTok, about the director explaining how the audio guy was complimenting the director or informing the director of Nick Cage's ability to stay within the clipping point and the barely audible point in his delivery.
Yeah.
Which is pretty neat. So the audio guy on set was concerned about his wide range in stylings and volume, and for some reason he never had to adjust the riders on the audio because Nick Cage knew how loud he could get before it was distorted and how quiet he could get before he had to basically talk louder.
Yeah,
which is a thing, and that's a thing when you're on set, because I do the location sound for our stuff, and if somebody's too quiet, this room is obviously soundproof, but we're all to sit here, and we were like, in a normal house, you'd be able to hear the HVAC going. If you like whispered too quietly or whatever, then all of a sudden when you turn it up in post, you just hear whoosh, and then you got to clean it out, and then it makes the voice kind of sound like warbly or whatever, and if it's too loud, then it clips and it just sounds like complete garbage.
Yeah.
So obviously he has a lot of experience on
well, he's probably
set.
just got annoyed earlier in his career when he had to ADR a bunch of crap all the time, and he realized, like, wait a minute, I don't have to ADR if I just always stay within these like ranges.
Yeah.
This is my decibel limit. I will be here.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one thing that I think that they should have fixed, though, was that I don't know that it was a good idea, which is sad, because the whole thing was pretty well executed for such a lame concept.
Well, yeah, he's satanic. So wait a minute. Can somebody explain it to me? Actually, do you know? So he worships Satan, and he puts the Satanist spirit inside of this ball, inside of a doll. Yeah. Then the mom brings the doll over, that then convinces the man of the house to murder his family, and that he would then leave a note in weird alphabetic handwriting to say that like he was the one that was doing it all to serve Satan.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a little bit loose as far as the motivating forces.
Well, no, Satan is bad.
Oh, shit.
I mean...
Satan's not a good entity.
Well, there's a whole Church of Satan, which actually explains that God's the bad one and Satan was thrown out of heaven.
That's probably what those serial killers think.
Is that...
There's also Satanists that are atheists.
Yeah.
Because they don't worship Satan. That's just atheism.
But yeah, I don't know. It was a pretty tired. The serial killer who's a Satanist is pretty tired.
Yeah, but
like that was like edgy in like 1960 whatever. Whenever
maybe it's getting edgy again. Because everybody's becoming real sensitive Christians.
Oh, by the way, I think if this were the Last Supper, then Victoria would be Jesus in this situation, right?
No.
Hopefully we release this soon enough so everybody gets that reference.
Yeah.
Cheers to that.
There's a lot said about Jesus or Satan, or I shouldn't be mixing up the two. That's terrible. In my mind, they're about equal. But I don't think he was a redhead. There are a lot of views on how he looked, but I'm pretty sure he was never a redhead.
No, I think
you two would be.
I mean, I think
the Jesus.
I think early Palestine. I think it was full of white people and redheads. You know,
well, okay,
around the year zero.
Specific to white people. Redheads aren't specific to white people.
Okay, sorry.
Everybody has redheads. Okay,
yeah.
That can happen. It's just a mutation.
Yeah. Anyway, that was a tangent.
Yeah, it was. I was explaining the thing that they did well. Does anyone want to springboard off that? Or, excuse me, the thing that they did poorly, which was the overall idea, which I guess covers a lot of things. But so if somebody wants to get specific about that.
Yeah.
Since I did a bad job of keeping it to things that I like, while you're asking for things I didn't like, I'm going to go to things I did like, which was the practical effects. Those were solid.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
I
good
thought
point.
those were really solid.
Yeah, when Nick Cage kills himself against like the desk, that was pretty cool.
That was beautiful.
That was
Just
so
like
fun.
The prosthetics work.
I forgot about that. I don't
Yeah.
understand why. I guess we watched it 2 weeks ago now, which is a bummer.
Yeah.
But that was really great when he slammed himself.
I mean, it was
to
the
death.
only good part of
Yeah.
that scene because he was just so bad in that scene. It was just kept on
He was
just.
that bad.
Well, I mean,
He's
it was
Nick
like.
Caging out. It's an acquired taste.
Well, no, I just realized that like in certain performances,
like
Nick,
Schlitz beer.
he's the champagne of directors or actors.
Are we in 1950? Is that what's happening right now? Like,
Hey, Schlitz.
mean-
People still drink Schlitz.
nobody still drinks Schlitz.
That's how the
Hey,
Idaho politicians are trying to.
Chicago people.
Idaho politicians are trying to time travel
There's
us back to the
Chicagoans.
50s.
There's Chicagoans that drink Schlitz still.
Well, people in Missouri go to Schlafly's now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Budweiser lost their pull.
Anyway, the thing is that I think like Nicolas Cage is best if he's in an everyman role because his general inclination is to go like kind of really intense and borderline over the top. And then so if you're giving him a Satanist serial killer, there's no paradox within his performance. So then he ends up just performing a series of gestures that he finds interesting. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, I can see that.
So that's what I
But I find
read.
them interesting too.
I mean, I think they're interesting. I mean, like this thing is pretty cool. It's like a pretty interesting like thing to do with your hands.
Well, that's kind of what I
Like-
liked was that he was very childlike. Like that was the whole point. And like kids do weird shit with their hands sometimes. I assume. I guess I've only seen a couple of kids in real life, but like
You
they do
remember
weird shit.
interacting with kids when you were a kid.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
kids do weird shit, and he had like kind of a weird thing, and he had this weird obsession with dolls, and I don't know, it was very childlike.
Cool. Well, I'm going to recommend that people wait to watch it once it's streaming if you haven't seen it already.
Yeah, I don't know if it's worth the $10.
Or go on a discount night, or wait till it's at your local discount theater.
Oh,
Actually, you know
discount.
what? Go
Local
this
discount
week,
theater.
and then just why do you care what we think?
Yeah, I mean, nobody's
Make up
listening
your
at this
own-
juncture anyway.
Yeah,
They
make
only
up
watch...
your own fucking mind.
Yeah. What the hell is the point of movie reviews anyway? All right, with that, I think we should sign off, and a good sign off is a short sign off. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.